Jordan's path is getting smaller than the Coach Pam making way, fulfilling our needs. Tuning in, learning on, thriving and free. Watch your life, you're over your high, just wait and see.
Hello. Yeah.
Hello, everybody.
Alive with
us.
Yeah, let's see how many complaints we get about that, but I thought it was fun. So yeah, thank you everyone who's joined. I'm Pam, this is Brian,
I'm Brian.
and we shall be going over the ETC financial report again. So yeah, seeing what's happening with ETC. Yeah, the graphs and all the prettiness. Yep. So I'm intrigued to see what I'll let people know what we're doing. We should be dual streaming to my channel and Brian's channel at the same time. So I'm intrigued to see how comments and everything come in. So if you're watching on my channel, can you say Pam in the chat? And if you're watching on Brian's channel, can you say Brian in the chat? Let's try that. I don't know.
Let's see. I'm going to write in my own chat.
Oh.
So I can see from your chat and my chat. Perfect.
Yeah. Yes. So I can see and put up other people's chat. That's good. Good to know.
Perfect. And if it, as far as our side, me and Pam talking here, if it has that little icon in the corner of the chat in the top right corner, then it's for mine. It has like the little link. Otherwise, it's coming from your side.
Yep.
And on YouTube, I am Brian support.
Yep. Should be
a Brian support, and you'll see me waving.
Yeah, should be a link in the description. And if you guys aren't following him, you should be anyway, because he's another data geek. Yeah. Yeah. So, well, I was going to say I think it's shown mainly me, but that's probably because
I literally just posted that I'm going live like 2 minutes ago. So
yes, we're practicing new technology. We didn't know if this would work, and it seemed to work even better than expected.
It definitely does. I was not expecting it to work, but we're streaming everywhere right now. That was like we're everywhere dance.
Yeah, and if anyone caught the music, what does everyone think? I spent a good 10 minutes working on that.
When we last did an E-Rank together, there was the new music, the new theme song, and it very much was not our style. And this one is definitely your style and mine. That works out well.
It's a little bit more, yes. I just fancied something a bit different. Right. I think we can start with. Let's cut. I stole this from Brian. Let's go straight away with Brian's charts, because he makes neater spreadsheets than me. Mine, yeah, it's like the joke about what Leonardo da Vinci's notebooks look like. It's got doodles and stuff here and calculations here and stuff. So Brian's looks lovely. So if you want an overview of the numbers we care about, which is GMS, active sellers, and active buyers on the platform, and I've made graphs of these. But
those are the most important numbers to us, and it's just that Etsy has actually stopped showing us the amount of people on mobile versus browser, and that's very frustrating, and so that's why that column is no longer there.
Yes, Debbie, this is the chart I love. I know everyone's here for the Brian chart, but it just gives us an idea how things are changing quarter by quarter. So it's nice to see, and anyone who's scanning quickly can see with the GMS. That's the sales on Etsy. That number has only said 2 million twice. Billion, yeah.
Billion, yeah.
Billion, yes. I can't read big numbers. It's only had a 2 at the start of it twice since Brian started keeping his charts, and they're both this year.
Well, my charts go all the way back to 2015, like my actual charts, but you could see quarter one of this year, it was down 120 million compared to the same time last year, and it's dropped quite a bit more. But it's kind of keeping with the same drop that happened last year, so that's expected. Quarter two is always going to be less. The amount of active sellers, that's a nice number to see drop by 300,000 or 330,000. That's Etsy killing shops, and that's what we've been asking them to do, to find all the kind of junk sellers out there and find all of the trash and just get rid of it. And that's what Etsy's been doing, and that number definitely showcases that, which is absolutely amazing. And then buyers are up slightly.
Yeah, hopefully killing the junk shops. I did actually dig out, let's see if I can add this. Dig out the numbers, that the actual totals for active sellers and buyers is actually reported within the Etsy family. So that includes Depop and Reverb.
Yes.
They just sold the LO7. So the Etsy only numbers, and we don't always get this data. So my charts actually are for Etsy total because that's the numbers we're given. But
And so this is this quarter, correct?
yes.
Yeah. So the last quarter, in quarter one of this year, the active buyer or the active sellers was exactly 7 million. So it's gone down by 400,000 according to this, which is very nice.
Yes, it is what we want. There has to be enough sellers to make it worthwhile for people to come to the platform, but I think we passed that metric quite a number of years ago.
Yes.
So there we go. And so just to explain that, my graphs at the minute in time, I'll probably change them in the next couple of quarters, but the graphs are based on the total for Etsy rather than just the Etsy family rather than just Etsy, because sometimes it's hard to get all the data that we want. So they
don't separate all the data. There's just these two data points that they actually separate. So the amount of money that's come in, for example, the GMS, they don't actually separate that by platform, unfortunately. So
yeah, I think once a year they tell us or something. So I do make a note of that, but we don't get it every quarter. But well, here's the big one that I've been doing for a number of years. Etsy revenue and GMS from 2017 to just now. So for anyone who doesn't read graphs and things, this is on two scales. So the revenue is the gold line, and that's in millions, and the blue line is GMS, and that's in billions. So they're not the same, but I've put them on different scales so we can view them the same, basically. And all we're looking at there, generally I look at the GMS is more important because that's our sales, basically. And if you can look at the trend, that little blue line is the lowest it's been since the pandemic. Yep. So Etsy are right to have a wee worry, basically. But at the same time, it's also expected. I think the fact that Etsy have kind of held since the pandemic is better than we would have expected, but it's not good enough for shareholders, basically.
Exactly. And that's kind of what we said the last quarter as well, where it was basically the lowest, and now it's dropped even lower.
Exactly.
Since quarter three of 2020, that's the lowest it's been. Damn.
Yeah. Yep. So that is a difference, absolutely. But if you took out the big pandemic spike, sort of extrapolated the growth from before the pandemic, we're probably still ahead of what the expected curve would be. It was just the pandemic was amazing. The other thing that I get asked all the time with this graph, which yes, the ratio of GMS to revenue, yes, it is going up. Etsy is making slightly more money when the GMS isn't making as much money, and that's just as a result of their other strategies, things like the increase in fees, Etsy ads, potentially some of the people they laid off, depending on where their wages come in the structure of things. But
so the marketplace revenue is basically the exact same compared to last year. The big spike where it rose is operating expenses, and that would be from staff that they laid off, essentially.
yeah. So from the investor's point of view, it's still grow. Like, investors care about revenue. In reality, that's their money. GMS is important too, because a site still has to be making sales to be a viable site, but revenue's what investors care about, really. So
Exactly.
Etsy has to do the thing to keep that going up a bit. But right, the other graphs. This is GMS per seller per quarter.
It's up.
If you're
It's
it's
up
up.
compared to last quarter.
Yeah, it's only the third worst ever. The third worst since 2015 instead of the second worst. But no, that is absolutely, I saw this. It is up a bit, which is hopefully a trend that we'll see. This means if you average out the total GMS, the total amount that was sold, and divide it by the number of sellers, this is, if we were an average shop, how much money we could be expecting to make a quarter. That's what, like just under $350. So,
And remember, the GMS went down by $50 million going into this second quarter, but the amount of sellers went down by 300,000. So that's where that number is. They got rid of a lot of those junk shops, but Etsy was still bringing in the same amount of money, so it got spread out a lot nicer.
exactly. So for terms of us, that is pretty good. Harlow, just pull this up. Problem with these strategies of just trying to grow revenue is not sustainable growth strategies. Totally agree. And I would say last quarter especially, and now Etsy are talking a little more about hopefully longer term sustainable strategies. How that goes moving forwards, we'll see. It's almost like a good thing that we got to the lowest point, because there's less expectations on you, so you can do longer term strategies. When they're at the peak of the pandemic, people are putting their money in and going, I want to see these returns. So now hopefully it leaves Etsy the ability to have these more long term strategies.
Exactly.
I think this is my last graph. It's up, as Brian was saying. The ratio of buyers to sellers. This is, again, we want these last two graphs, like saying they're up, we want them higher. The higher, within reason, the higher they are, the better for us, because there's more buyers potentially can come to our shops. Obviously, you don't want it too high. A site that is only sellers with no buyers is a problem. A site that is only buyers with no sellers is equally a problem. You've got to have a nice balance. But I think we can all see, since the pandemic sort of finished, there's been quite a step change, because there was a massive influx of sellers, and that has hurt many of us.
Exactly. But in this quarter, buyers went up by what was that, 200,000, which ends up being only 0.2%, versus sellers, which dropped by, what would that be? That would be 3%. So 3% less sellers, but 0.2% more buyers. So that's the trend that we're looking for.
Exactly. So looking at these graphs, they're up. It is up. So hopefully that means the plummet is ended and we're starting on an upswing. Wait and see. You can't really extrapolate graphs from that little data, but it would be nice.
But when second quarters are higher than the first quarter, it's always a good sign.
That's true, and that is what Etsy was potentially predicting. I will say, in the investors call, they were talking about how they're hoping things will be better in quarter four. It's like let's write off quarter three. How's quarter four going to be? Which is actually long-term strategies, I guess. They're talking about stuff that we did now. We're hoping it'll look good, but yeah, so I don't expect much from quarter three, but that's usual. Like things when kids go back to school and stuff, things start picking up. But quarter four is the biggie, so that's when we'll see if things are working.
And with the buyer subscription program, that's coming into place, or the beta testing of it is coming into place in quarter three. So you won't really see the revenue from that until quarter four. So that like they know all these little things that are coming up that are just going to really benefit sellers, but they won't really impact anything until the holiday season, quarter four.
Exactly. Yeah, if you guys didn't hear about that program, I made a video on it yesterday. This is a subscription program for buyers that's going to be invite only for a limited number of not massive repeat buyers, people who just occasionally buy, and only in the US just now. But they'll be able to shop from all sellers, and they'll be paying a subscription that Josh said they haven't decided yet, but it'll be about the price of a latte, and they should get perks from it, which is going to include a goodie bag, which is interesting.
A free tote. You get like a limited edition free tote, a birthday gift, and free shipping on any U.S. domestic regular price order.
Yeah, so we'll see how this goes. There's a chance. I mean, Amazon Prime absolutely works. So
who doesn't have a Prime account?
Exactly. So if it works like that, great. There's also the equal chance that, like a lot of things that Etsy roll out, it'll just very quietly not go any further than this. So we'll see. But it's interesting. Best case scenario,
it keeps people on the marketplace.
Very true. I know the big complaint, because I've been going through hundreds of comments on yesterday's video, is they are talking about sellers having the option, well, sellers offering a 50 to 75% discount. And people don't like that. I don't like that. It's on, you choose a listing to offer that discount for this select group of people. However, yeah, I don't like that.
Well, the discount's not good. I really like the first chance situation. A lot of auction sites and that type of stuff. If you're a premium member, then you get first dibs at getting your bids in or buying items before, and it almost makes it feel like a club, like you're joining a club and you get first dibs. It works better for one-of-a-kind items or for limited quantity items. If it's just I have unlimited amount of them, it doesn't really benefit the buyer as much. But when there's limited quantity, you want your people to get in there first and get those items, and so that kind of adds a nice little bit to the program.
Yeah, the drops, that's a kind of similar thing, Melanie. Is basically they're given the offer. I agree. I like the sound of this. You get to promote exciting things to these people. It's a thing that you would do with your social media following. If you had a big social media following, you don't necessarily have it. So Etsy is able to help you with the marketing for that. That sounds good. I would.
A lot of YouTubers do that kind of thing with their videos. Where they'll have an unlisted video that only their subscribers can see for the first few days, and then everybody gets access to it. So like it adds a little fun, a little FOMO, a little like, oh, I'm gonna miss out if I don't get it now. It lets you do that with Etsy, which is nice.
Exactly. And the specialty wreath, my items are large and cost $30 to ship. Do you think they'll pay that much on shipping? Oh, no. That's Etsy is going to cover the cost of the free shipping, they say, for only US to US shipping. So if you're in the US, but yep, they say it
all evens out in the end. It all evens out in the end, because if the subscription price is $10 a month or whatever it is, and they have a couple 100,000 people paying that, then some of the free shipping will only be $2 or $3, and some of the free shipping will be $30, and it all evens out in the end.
Yeah, definitely interesting. Right, should pull this up. Yep. We can all see this.
Pull it up here too.
Okay, so here be these numbers again. The GMS 2.9 billion. That is 2.1% year on year down. Revenue 648 million, which is 3% up year on year. And the EBITDA, which is earnings before taxes, is 27.7%. But that's easy money. Yeah, but I'm trying to remember if Josh said anything here. Oh, the only thing I don't know that if anybody knows, but they did announce at this point that Rachel Glacier, who's been their chief financial officer, she is retiring. So they let us know that. Okay. Don't know if that means anything to anybody, but she's the person you always see on these earnings calls. So but they're
that
not
means
sacking
that when they bring someone else in, they always like to shake things up. So expect something in the financial area to change in the coming months as they get someone new in.
True. Yeah, good point. People always like to stamp their mark. Yep. And this slide, they show this a whole lot, but this is what the push just now is to drive consideration. They want buyers to think of Etsy more often. They really want buyers to basically, when you're looking to buy something just now, you'll probably go to Amazon, you'll go to eBay, and then you'll go, oh, maybe Etsy's got it. They want Etsy at the front. That's absolutely fair.
And that's again, in that first consideration, it even mentions the loyalty program. That's exactly why everyone shops at Amazon first, because they have a Prime membership. I might as well hop on Amazon first. They have everything that I can need, and it's free shipping. And that's what Etsy's trying to do with that loyalty program.
Yeah, that bit was in the slide last quarter, but we didn't know what it meant. So now we know what it means. And this will be launching to the beta group pretty soon. Well, they say pretty
September,
soon, but
I thought they said.
Yeah, September, but they also say they haven't even figured out the price of it yet. So we've got these things to help people think of Etsy more often. And to help with that, they're talking about quality, make it easier to find the good stuff on Etsy. I think that's coming in another slide, so I won't talk about it just now. Great value. This is an interesting point because what they said, I'm not sure if they said it at this point or later on, but we've always been like great value. You know, you're talking about not having the race to the bottom, you're talking about massive sales, but they did have a really good point that I hadn't thought of, that during the pandemic, people were coming to Etsy to buy like $10 jewelry because you couldn't go to the shops to buy that rubbish, if we're honest. However, you can go to the shops to get the cheap jewelry. So Etsy's point of differentiation, what he means by great value, is you could come to Etsy to buy the $100 to $200 rings that have more value because someone physically is making them individually for you. So that's a kind of good thing. What he also, I have it written really big in my notes. He also said to add that value, you're talking about looking at this whole campaign of, you know, made by this actual person. You're making the thing. And he did mention with videos to show how you are involved in the process. So he's saying that, look, I've been saying this for a year. Videos, guys, make them.
They've been pushing more and more with videos where they're putting a video in, like saying request a video if a seller doesn't have a video, and they've just been pushing it more and more in search where you can hover, in your featured section where you can hover and start the video. They're really pushing videos more and more because they are finding that it makes more sales. That interactive level of a video sells a lot better than just a photo. And they have all the research, they have all the numbers, and so they must be seeing that listings with videos sell better. So everybody should have videos, and we're going to push sellers to add videos. And it doesn't have to be a huge elaborate video. It could be just a photo slideshow. But like he's saying here, where if you show you making the item, it's more likely to sell.
Exactly. You are showing you have that item in your hands, you created it, you're not drop shipping it from China.
Yeah.
It's that's showing value. And the third thing where there was reliability, make shopping more convenient. So this annoys most people for a very good reason, is the machine learning investments in delivery speed, saying you're going to get it by a certain date. Cross-border in Europe and payment improvements. Yeah, so yes, I get it from a buyer point of view. Like, I can't remember the last time I bought on eBay, but the last times I buy on eBay, I always filter by stuff that's not going to take me 6 months to come from China. I always look for quick stuff. So
if I wanted it from China, I would order from Temu or AliExpress or one of the other places where the price is going to be cheaper, and I know it's going to be taking months. You don't want that on eBay or Etsy or Amazon or anything like that. You want those to be quick.
Exactly. I mean, to add to that, I do buy stuff on Temu. Hate me all, guys. And Temu has warehouses in the UK now, and I get it in less than a week. So, I definitely don't want to go to eBay and get something drop shipped from China that I can buy in the UK. Yeah. Etsy is talking about how their gifting is working, or they believe it is. So they believe that the GMS from people gifting, I don't know how they're judging this, but they believe it outpaced the overall Etsy marketplace at the GMS of increase of 4%, and outperformed the other peers that they're following, which is Zola, Zazzle, Minted. So Etsy's gifting strategy, by the metrics that they're following, they believe is working.
I don't know how they're getting the numbers from the other sites. I'm guessing the Etsy number is based on just people that bought something after looking through gift mode. So not necessarily just looking for a gift for someone or looking for searching for a gift for mom. It would be through the gift mode.
Good point. Yeah. So, I mean, that's good data, I think. That definitely sounds reasonable. We don't know about the other numbers, but that is saying that people who are coming onto the Etsy gift mode are potentially buying quite well. Mind you, it's fairly new, so the GMS probably will be up on anything that's new. And yeah, they're saying launched significant improvements to the gift mode shopping experience. So yeah,
I'm glad somebody's getting use out of it, because I've tried it quite a few times and came up with nothing of what I was looking for. So I'm glad that somebody is able to find something.
Yeah. I've not found it great, but I have discovered you can go into your Google Analytics and see, and people are finding and clicking on my items from certain gift mode searches. So people are doing it. But it's not the best, and definitely, and everyone else is finding that. And definitely the whole thing when you're putting who are you buying for, and what occasion and stuff, I was really excited by that, but it's awful. Or in my opinion, like if I was clever enough and I was making something like this and it said, who are you buying for, what occasion, what are they into, I would take that to combine it all. Like, it's a woman whose birthday who loves golf, I'd be looking at pink golf clubs that are personalized for the birthday or something. But now they go, here's gifts for women, here's golf lovers, and No, I
They
wanted
keep it separate without combining it, which was the whole point of gift mode, which is the whole point of using AI in the first place, is to come up with a conglomeration of everything that's on the list.
Exactly. Yeah. Find that. I mean, that would be so good for all of us with really niche products. Find that really weird thing that matches your really weird friend perfectly. Because that, yeah, Etsy, do that, please. That would be so much more fun. I mean, look, this is the worst version of it, that it can only get better. I really, really hope. But Etsy, that this is how we want it. Okay, so doing more than ever to ensure we highlight the very best of Etsy, differentiating in a sea of commoditized merchandise. I lose the ability to do words quite quickly. So suppress and remove listings that violate Etsy's policies, and probably people have seen there's been a lot of emails going out from the trust and safety team. So, like, look at your images, make sure your pictures following our rules, and all that. They seem to be bot messages. They're not taking down your listings, but they're basically going, did you notice we changed our policies and we think that you might be in a category that's high risk for not following our policies, kind of thing.
And it just means that they're getting closer and closer to mass wiping these listings from the marketplace. If they're sending out warnings, if they're putting it in their investor reports, then that's something that they're actively doing now, instead of just moderately saying, yeah, we're going to clean up, we're going to do whatever, like they've been saying for 2 or 3 years now. Now they're actually like actively starting to do something about it, which is nice.
Yeah, I definitely got the feeling with these number of messages going out, it's like, this is your warning. You're not getting a message as a warning. It's like, this is a site-wide warning and we're going to be checking kind of thing. So be careful. I think that this is speculation, but if you got one of these messages, absolutely triple check, because you've not been flagged as doing anything wrong, but you've been flagged potentially as being in a group that might be at high risk of doing something wrong, I think. So if I was doing something like that and I wanted to sweep and take down the non-compliant listings, that's the group that I would be checking first, basically. But that's my speculation, basically.
I feel the same way.
Doesn't, just because something's common sense doesn't mean that Etsy's thinking that way, but
fair. Very fair.
Yes, so they're wanting to elevate better quality listings in search and recommendations. So we've seen they are changing things. I can't remember if this was coming in a slide or I hallucinated a slide, but they definitely mentioned things along the lines of they're having less of the exact same or similar items on a page, and also there was an increase in the visibility for small sellers, so they're showing everybody a little bit. Basically, you might not have seen a difference yourself, they haven't necessarily shown you in a good place or whatever, but they are trying to show a better mixture of items to people, which makes sense.
They're really working on their personalization part of the algorithm to make it so that you see what you're most likely to buy, and what you're most likely to buy doesn't involve 80 of the same thing on a page, because they want those clicks. The clicks are the most important things. That's what gives good metrics of whether they're showing the right things or not. And then a sale, of course, is the ultimate metric.
Actually, I remembered this. This is something they did say in the presentation. Conversion used to be the most important factor. I don't know how they're doing this, but what factor they're basing this on now is people returning to Etsy. So what they want, that front page, is not just exactly what you searched for, but also what you might like. So the idea is the search page, they'll go, oh yeah, there's that thing that'll totally do for Brian. oh, hang on, that'll do for Susan's birthday in 6 months' time. I'm going to come back for that. So search might end up looking awful for many of us, because it's showing not just what you asked for, but things that you might not want just now, but you might come back for, which is weird. Yeah, that I forgot about
That's like
that.
what Amazon ads do, and it's probably going to be more in the ad rows that they show just like the more weird looking listings. But that's exactly what Amazon does, where if you searched for a pillow 3 months ago, it's going to still be showing you ads for pillows, even if you're searching for TVs. And so Etsy's going to kind of try and mimic that action, because it does lead to a lot more sales.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. Yes. And yes, organized quality listing through better site segmentation, which is the filters, which is obviously they've just made the changes for explaining how handmade your items are. This isn't quite really live yet. It's just they're working on it, so we'll see how that goes. But I think we're going to be seeing some more changes for sure.
Yeah, and what they're showing in the little picture is categories. So they must be doing something with the categories, removing some, adding some, and making it just make a bit more sense, because some of them are, as they've added more subcategories to some of the categories, they're really weird. So they're probably going to be organizing that significantly different. So at a certain point in time, once they actually move forward with that, you might have to go into your listings and change the category of some of them, because your category might not be in the right section anymore. It might not be in the right category anymore. It might just be completely non-existent now. So we're probably going to have to change our listing categories or subcategories shortly, but for the better, so that buyers can more easily find what they're looking for.
Yeah, I was trying to have a close-in zoom on this, and what it's saying at the top here is you've got all the categories, but it says at the top recommended categories, and it's showing like coin purses. I can't see what all of that. I tried to zoom in to see what everything was, but so it looks like you'll have an option for recommended categories, which is.
We got pouches and coin purses, stress balls and desk something, art objects, and bridesmaids' gifts.
That is a strange recommendation. I wonder what your search history would be for that.
Right.
But it's interesting that, yeah, they're going to be offering us curated categories that are much more niched down. Oh, here we go. See, I start talking about a slide. I'm not sure if I saw a slide. So the quality and diversity of Etsy's inventory. They've cut in half the percentage of searches where a high percent of the listings are seen on page one are from a single seller. It kind of annoys me as a metric, because this is something they got rid of years ago and then brought back, and now they don't want again. So,
well, they've had frequency capping for a while. They just keep changing how they implement it. And
yeah,
I guess they're now cutting in half that percentage.
Yeah, it's bonkers, because this used to be an issue right on Etsy at the start. The people that were getting the most sales and had the best SEO could fill the front page of every search term, like all their listings. So what they did was the first version of frequency capping, where they limited you to one listing of yours per page, which totally made sense. And then they added personalizations, which then the algorithm would go, hey, you looked at Brian's shop. We're going to show you all of Brian's listings. So now they're cutting it down. They decided that isn't a good thing.
We overcorrected. Go back the other way.
Yeah, pretty much. And over a 70% reduction in the percentage of searches that have two or more listings that may appear identical. So that is different from the single seller. This is listings if you have a t-shirt with the exact same text as 20 other people. They're trying to not show everybody's listing on the same page, which is good. So, and Etsy thinks already they're seeing some positive impact to that. So, yeah, I think it's a good thing.
It makes it easier to buy when you're searching for something and you just see a wall of the exact same thing. Which do you choose? Because odds are the prices are going to be similar, shipping prices are going to be similar, that everything about them is similar. Which one do you choose? Do you just go with the one with the most sales? Do you go with the one with the most reviews or the best reviews? Or, which is what they're doing, which is what they said, I believe, on the last earnings call, where they're going to put priority to the one that listed it first to market, instead of just showing all the copycats, which makes it a lot more fair. Because if someone copies you and now they're being shown above you just because they have more sales because they copy everybody, that's not really a fair system, because you were the originator. And they said that they're going to put priority to the original seller,
which is cool. And the thing, if you guys haven't noticed, there is something that they've added here. When you click on a listing, it's now, or is it clicking, or underneath it, I think there's a button that says more like this. That's been going for a little while, or it was it's a test. I'm seeing it anyway. And when you click more like this, it populates a search that is the title of your listing. So if your titles are kind of similar to each other, you can get quite a few of your own items in the more like this if people were interested in it. So that's a good way. If they've collapsed down to hopefully the first to market person, but if you really like this and you want some more options, you can just click on the more like this button. They didn't mention that. I just spotted that a few weeks ago.
It's a lot of little things. The little things, the quality of life things that they're adding that they don't necessarily talk about, but they're helpful.
Yep. Oh, here. See, another slide that I just talked about that does actually exist. So they're saying that it's better seller experiences because 70% of shops had more visibility in search. So that's the share of all shops that had at least one impression during the period of the experiment. So it's not even a visit, but it is saying 70% of shops were at least shown in search once. So that's
a lot of shops. If you think about it, there's now 6.6 million shops, and 70% of shops had more visibility. So that's a lot.
Yep. And they've increased the share of search impressions from small and medium shops by nearly 30%, which is great, but also possibly, to be fair to the big sellers who've been saying, what's happened? My views have gone down. Possibly this.
Yep. But they also don't really detail what small and medium shops are. Is a large shop the Caitlin minimalist with 1,000 sales per day, or is a large shop the people that are getting 30 sales per day? Because the small shops are getting one sale a month. So where are the dividing lines into what is a small, medium, and large shop?
Well, when we looked at the ratios, the average there was like $300 a quarter, $100 a month. Is that a medium shop?
Right.
Yeah,
if it's the average, you would think that would be the medium, and then above that would be large, and who knows?
Yeah, a large shop makes $500 a quarter. That would be a smack in the face if Etsy's taking your sales away in that size of shop.
It's true. So this could benefit you if you're a smaller shop, but if you're a larger shop, or what you would consider a larger shop in your mind, then it could actually not benefit you.
Yeah. I do still believe that at the end of the day, Etsy wants to show things that are good for the platform. So if you were getting loads of sales, it's still going to want to show you because you're good for the
that's
customer.
How they make money.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's money for Etsy. They don't want to cut off all that by showing the new guy who has taken a photo on a potato in a dark room, basically. So, it's going to be a balancing act.
Yeah, they want to show people with a track record generally, just because they know that a sale will definitely happen instead of somebody searching, not finding what they're looking for, and moving over to Amazon to find what they're looking for.
Exactly. They still have to keep showing the guys that are selling. They can't take that away because that would kill the site. I
still got to pay for these printers, so it'd be very nice if they didn't do that.
I'm sure they're not going to kill your shop. I think you've got a very good niche as well. So
I might be a small shop. Maybe I'm considered a small shop. I don't know. Maybe they're showing me more. Who knows?
It could be. Yeah, we don't know what the metric. I think everybody's seen the new creativity standards, but it's on the screen anyway. It's changing to made by, handpicked by, designed by, or sourced by. And people are freaking out because they've removed it now doesn't say vintage supplies and handmade. There's Brian showing off with sales. It doesn't say vintage supplies and handmade.
You mentioned my shop. It had to happen.
Exactly. So now on Etsy, it'll say vintage or everything else. But that's because everything else is in either made by, handpicked. It's into these categories. Yep. So,
and at the moment, there is still it's kind of glitching of what it shows. There's no real way to make it show. If you made something by hand, it might still say designed by. They're still working on that. This isn't something that's officially rolled out and 100% accurate yet. So don't freak out that it isn't perfect, but they are working on it, and that'll kind of help buyers make decisions. And this is their way of kind of highlighting the things that should not be sold on Etsy, the drop shipping and all of that type of stuff, because it would not fit into any of these categories.
Exactly. And yeah, I've got some of my items are showing up under designed by, which no. But that's Etsy. They're bound to get things wrong. It's fair enough. I think I know it's because some of my listings I put personalized and some I put custom, and they think personalized is designed by.
Oh, that makes sense.
Okay, right. That's just a slide about how people love Etsy. Isn't it funny that they put, oh, these are fantastic new additions? That's not the most of the messages that I get.
Also, there was only 8? There's only 8 people that liked Etsy this quarter. Jeez, they need to work on that.
That's something. I've got I could fill a whole page with just what people thought of the new subscription thing just from yesterday. So Etsy, if you want any quotes from people, I've got a bucket load.
Not anything that would make it to an investor report, because you don't want to tell investors that, but can give you all the information you need.
Oh, sorry, I'm missing quite a lot of the chat. I'm sorry if I've missed anything, let me know. But I just saw Michelle's question come. Did you both get any kind of vibe based on the questions that were asked after the presentation? I will be covering that at the end, the stuff that I've got. I didn't take the greatest notes because it's so boring. It was late at night and it was boring. But yes, I will cover some of that. So this bit, they just showed some of the videos that they're showing, the made by label, and bear in mind now
I've been enjoying these videos. I've been liking the videos they've been dropping. They're nice.
Yeah, these ones are really good. And bear in mind they're telling us to use the Instagram filter to go make videos yourself. Guys, do it. Because when they've run out of these ones that they made themselves, what are they going to showcase on their social media? Oh, I bet you it's some of our videos if they look good and they are on brand, on message. So yeah, make some videos that are cool, that show that you make stuff.
Yep, 100%. If they're saying to do it, then might want to do it.
Yeah, and but literally, as we pulled that screen up, you said you've been enjoying the videos. Like, people are enjoying. These are cool videos.
Yeah. I laughed at the Super Bowl ones or the GIF mode ones or whatever they were. I thought they were funny, but these videos I actually have watched a couple times over, and I find them actually like inspirational, and I find them nice.
Yeah, I think that this is my word of the year for this year. It's kind of amusing. I, for some reason, decided in my trends report, I said I'm having a word of the year, and it's authentic. And Eatsy's come up here, authentic and accessible, and that's it exactly. Your seller is authentically making the thing, and they're a person that you're going to be talking to and stuff. So I think these are really good things to promote. They talked quite a wee bit about the app, saying how it drives better GMS and all sorts of things. But as you said at the start, they're not giving us the numbers on the.
No, the last one they gave us was, I think it was a year and a half ago, and it was, I think it was 50. Was it 58%? Yeah, it was 58% was coming from mobile. So it has already surpassed, and that's probably why they don't show it as much anymore, because it's already way up there, and that just dissuades people from focusing on desktop, which is an important part of Etsy as well. And that's just based on GMS numbers, not necessarily actual shopper numbers. More people might be coming in to the desktop, but more people are buying from the or buying larger items or whatever from mobile.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, and it would be nice to see more data, because a lot of I saw some reports of not Etsy, but other data from other retailers, and they were all saying desktop compared to the app, desktop are higher ticket items sales, which does make sense. I mean, if I'm going to buy a car, I'm going to sit for a long time researching it. If I'm buying a sticker, I might feel a bit more comfortable on my phone, just going click,
just hitting add, pay.
Yep. So it'd be nice to have all of the numbers, but yeah, the app's important. I'm a horrible Luddite, and I've even bought some things on my phone occasionally. I'm starting
what
to
that means is you should, as sellers, you should be looking at what your shop looks like from a mobile perspective. You should be shopping other shops and adding to cart and going through the whole process just to see what your buyers are looking at, and knowing how your photos look, how your description looks on mobile, because it's going to be condensed a little bit more, which means it's now more lines, which means the line breaks might show up weird. Like, look at your shop on mobile, because a lot of people are shopping on mobile, and it looks like they're going to be pushing a little bit more if they're going to be making the buy on Etsy app the center of the customer experience.
Exactly. And the other thing with doing that, to use the app to see what kind of things are Etsy pushing, where they're sending you to click. Somebody said last week now on the app on the iPhone, they're showing you the Etsy Explore videos. You have a link to go to them. So, what are you seeing? What's Etsy directing people on the app to go and look at? So
it's important to know that stuff when you're researching why your shop isn't doing well, or researching just how to improve your shop. Those are definitely things that you need to look at, is the buyer experience, and seeing how they get to your shop, and what tools you can use to your advantage to get people into your shop and make that experience even better.
Absolutely. Okay, we did cover this earlier. I am absolutely terrible at remembering what slides.
I never remember what I saw a week ago and what was on I don't remember. Was that a Facebook post someone made, or was it in the thing?
Yeah, remember we saw something, just not where. But for anyone who missed it, Etsy Insider Beta will launch. I have an entire video about it from yesterday, but Etsy's done a nice breakdown. This is what it is. we don't know much about it yet. They launched it yesterday. It's US only. It's going to be a small thing, and the point of it, as it says here, is to drive frequency. It's to take the people who shop a couple of times a year on Etsy and make them come back more often. It's a shame. I think a loyalty program should be also rewarding the people that do shop a lot on Etsy, but that was what I expected from a loyalty program. But we'll see how this goes.
Well, one of the groups that people mentioned was sellers that buy their supplies and stuff from Etsy. This is absolutely perfect. They are basically getting Amazon Prime, but for their Etsy purchases as well, which is going to be absolutely amazing. But again, I won't be able to test this. You won't be able to test this. We'll have to rely on people like Starla to give us the inside information about the insider program.
Well, I don't get Starla apparently shops on Etsy a whole lot, so Starla's not going to get the invite because she's a regular shopper. So, so you guys are going to have to keep us in touch with it. Oh yeah, well, people always ask about AI, Gen AI, and advanced machine learning, fueling efficiencies and future growth. So here's what Etsy's saying about Gen AI. I think we've probably seen some of this. I know bottom right, we hate some of it. We hate that customer support has support bots when you go in and ask a question and you've got to jump through hoops to get to the human. That's annoying.
But the fraud detection, I find it's been getting really good, where it's knocking out a lot of spam messages before I even get to see them, which is nice. So like some of the AI tools are working really well.
Yeah. That one, as we said, like the first iteration's always the worst. This seems to have got good quickly, because I'm hearing much less from people saying I had a message that was marked as spam that wasn't. So it's definitely working better. So that's good. I haven't seen much. It's probably on the app, and I haven't looked on the app much. Conversational search, but this is something that they are talking about more, rather than you typing in your keyword to search for more. An AI could be like, what can I get you today? Like golf clubs for my female friend's birthday. But we'll keep testing it, and I think the day when I can put that in somewhere on Etsy and find the pink golf clubs, then that's the day when they've got it right. That's going to be my benchmark.
Yeah.
Now I've got to search and see if anyone actually makes pink golf clubs.
And we've already been seeing the review summaries as well, where they say a lot of people think that this shop ships really well on time and blah blah blah. Like they're taking snippets from lots of reviews and creating like little statements, and so that's been kind of nice as well. I've heard a lot of people comment about that, and it's actually doing well with that.
I really like that. I've seen it in other places as well as Etsy, and I thought this is a cool thing. Yes, it highlights the worst and the best, but it does highlight the good things, and also it's good for you to know about your shop. It's good for you to snoop on your competition if they're going, oh, people are loving this, but they hate that your packaging falls apart in the mail. So you'll go, hey, I've got to do better packaging
that doesn't break apart in the mail.
Exactly. So yeah, you're getting AI to summarize what people don't like about your competitors so you can do better than them. Sounds good to me.
Saves you a lot of work finding that information yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And it helps you as well to know, oh, well, if the AI is saying that this is an issue, I really want to get on top of it. Because if you have a lot of reviews, you might not notice, or you might not have compiled it all together in your head to say, hey, this really does keep coming up. I maybe need to do something about this.
Yep, it's true.
So AI is not awful.
It's not awful. It just sometimes the implementation can be frustrating, but it has to learn. That's what machine learning is. That's what AI is. It's just generative learning, and It needs to be trained properly, and unfortunately they're training it live, which means that there's going to be some bad false positives, but generally it makes things a lot easier. It makes things a lot quicker.
Yeah, and it learns, like you say, it's getting better. So,
well, imagine if you had to spell check all your stuff yourself. That sounds horrible. That's what a spell checker is for. That a spell checker is essentially what AI is. It's been trained with this dictionary, and now it knows which words are spelled right or not. That is essentially what AI is. And so it's not a bad thing. It just needs to know what words. You need to also teach it and say, no, this is actually the proper spelling of this word. Sometimes you have to do that. And those are the false positives that sometimes come up that we have to train it to do. So it's a positive thing.
Listen, and it's not a new thing. AI's been about for ages. It's just because of these large language models that have come up quickly. Everyone's thinking that is AI.
It's because we're calling it AI. That's the big problem. We're calling it artificial intelligence, but it's nothing even remotely like that. It's just we taught a computer how to do this thing, and now it's doing this thing. That's it. That's all it is.
Yeah, like ChatGPT is not intelligence.
No.
It's kind of the opposite, but a lot of the other things, like what algorithms have been doing for a good number of years, is using artificial intelligence to feed back the results of what it's getting from showing things, saying, oh, people are more likely to buy this at this time of the day, feed that back in and learning from that. That's all been going on for a while. What's machine learning? It's in the name.
Yep.
But it's cool and it's exciting. This is when we got onto the other person's slides, the financial ones. So pretty much what we've seen before, but Brian's charts and my graphs were prettier. So.
It's true. It's true.
Okay, yeah, here's where the incremental revenue bridge. So we're seeing where the growth has come from. Offsite ads is always, that's bigger than a quarter, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very close.
Yeah. I'm trying to line things up. And I don't think I've seen this in this chart before. Depop shipping labels and ads. But yeah, and this is Eatsy's revenue things. It's just interesting for us to look at. It doesn't really impact us a whole lot. Quarter two product development spend as a % of revenue. So they're spending less.
Which is likely the firing of the staff and that kind of, or the laying off of staff.
Exactly. I think we expected to see that drop, and also this is exactly that continued growth in revenue per head count. Well, of course, if you if you lay off a load of people and you get a bit more revenue for the quarter, then revenue per head count is going to go up even more. Exactly. That's pretty much how that number works. Paid social share of performance marketing spend went from 14% to 18%. I absolutely do not remember any of these slides when I watched the presentation. I think I utterly zoned out on this section.
Now, this slide did confuse me, because is this like the videos that they're putting out there? So this is the money to produce those videos, or is this also offsite ads? Because that would be paid social media, paid social share performance. I don't know.
It does have a little thing. Paid social includes paid social video, creative collective, and affiliates.
So that could also mean the affiliate marketing, the what's it called, Creator Co. That could be part of that as well.
Yep, I'm part of that. I've not posted a single link. I just like getting their emails. Basically.
Well, you're not part of that increase then.
Nope, not at all. Marketing spend as a percent of revenue over the quarters. So, yeah.
It's about the same, and it just went up for Christmas last year, and that's it.
Which is what it always does. It does look like last year between quarter 2 and quarter 3 they dropped a bit. Wonder if they'll be dropping, or they might be putting in a bit more.
Probably not. If they expect quarter 3 to be lower, they're probably going to put less as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. They've put the expectations there that things are going to be about flat. That's what they're hoping, So, yeah, temper expectations, which I think is a good thing, because I really hate people going, yeah, it's going to be great, and it's not. So it's better to tell the truth and under promise, over deliver, rather than the other way around.
Exactly. Jillian said, I don't see many people paying the cost of a latte for an Etsy subscription personally. If you shop on Etsy quite a bit, and you could save, I don't know what shipping is in the US, it's usually between like $3 and $10 or whatever, and you shop twice on Etsy, that's the price of a latte. So, I mean, there's definitely pros and cons, and if people do shop a few times a month on Etsy, they could actually end up in the positive, in the black.
Yeah. People will pay the subscription if the perks, like the free shipping, feel worth it to them.
Yeah.
I mean, I took
or
a
if they
long
really
time.
love the limited edition tote.
Yeah, that's not fair. We should all get the tote, and it wouldn't be limited edition if 6 million were sent. Well, limited.
Unless they only make 6 million, then it's limited edition.
Exactly.
There's no limit to the limited edition.
That's very true. Yep. Here's Etsy's top categories and how they're doing. So home and living is always the top category pretty much since I've been paying attention to these. Year on year, trends improved in 5 of the 6 categories is what they're saying. And
home and living is okay. So it's literally just the toys and games flew. That was unexpected.
Yeah, no idea why.
Apparel is the only one that's down. I wonder, maybe the POD is starting to fall off.
The bubbles burst, and yeah, it could very much be. If we're all honest, Etsy has an image problem just now, and probably if buyers are learning, look, you can just go to Amazon for your print on demand stuff and get it next day with free shipping. That could well be a case there.
Yep.
But if you're in toys and games or paper and party supplies, then that looks really promising.
Yeah.
Here's your new and reactivated buyers. Reactivated buyers is up a bit. That's a good thing. People that used to shop on Etsy that didn't. Yeah. This is something obviously Etsy wants to take people from being occasionally buying and move them up the pyramid, so they're buying more and more. So that's their goal.
Exactly, but that new buyer number is worrisome, down 9.1% year over year. People coming back, that's great, but they're not able to bring in as many new buyers as they once were.
And if we take into the account the massive advertising they've been throwing at trying to get new buyers. I mean, there's no denying that Super Bowl ad was not to remind people about Etsy. That was to try and get in front of people that haven't seen Etsy before, don't know about Etsy. So, yeah, that's not a great number, but
No. But reactivated is great. So, like, at least the people that already have shopped on Etsy are coming back. So that's good.
Yep. Oh, and there's a ratio that I haven't put up in my graphs, but it's pretty bad, isn't it? GMS per active buyer. So on average, a person is spending $124 on Etsy in the quarter.
Is that in the quarter or the year? I guess it would be the quarter. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, quarter two GMS. Yeah, it is just a quarter, which I suppose is a little more than I expected, but it's not a lot of money.
I mean, that is a lot of money if you figure there's 91.5 million active buyers.
It adds up to a lot, yeah, but
well, it adds up to $2.9 billion, I guess. I guess we knew that number already.
yeah, it's just one divided by the other, yes. But yeah, 124. I definitely spent more than that on Amazon in the quarter. So that's
more
what
than
they
on
want.
Amazon yesterday.
I had a day off Amazon yesterday, but yeah, I get what they're saying is they want really loyal customers, because I don't tell everyone go to Amazon. I love Amazon. I'm an Amazon customer, but I spend a lot more than I do on Etsy, and I tell people to go to, well, I did until the past couple of years, but I would generally say go to Etsy. Etsy's a cool place for handmade stuff. A marketing thing they talked about, I can't even remember where it was. They were talking about when you get something and someone goes, "Oh, that brooch is amazing," you'll go, "I got this on Etsy." I'm a little more wary to go, "I got this amazing t-shirt on Temu," because people shout at me.
Fair.
And I don't think I've ever gone, "Oh, I got this on Amazon." It's not a thing. Like, Amazon more often is, I threw out that lead and now I need a replacement. I broke the door off my camera or something. That's my Amazon shopping. It's I did a dumb thing and I need to replace it.
Yeah, that, or I ran a paper towel, so I can get that tonight with same day shipping.
Exactly. Yes, it is stuff that you need today or tomorrow, and it's not stuff you're particularly proud of buying. It's just stuff you needed to get. Yeah.
Exactly.
Depop and Reverb, they're doing good.
Oh, they still exist. Look at them.
Yeah, they do still exist. Last week, I don't know if you heard this, but last week in my Etsy news, I heard that Depop have removed seller fees, and they've put it onto buyer fees. And that was, so rather than you take back 10% off what the seller charges, the buyer pays 10% more.
Okay.
So that, it was funny. I said in the Etsy news, I said Etsy's about to announce something. I bet they're not going to increase fees. They're going to do something to take money off of buyers. But I never thought a subscription. But I was close. I was so close on Saturday.
I guess it's similar to the way the VAT works. I know that VAT is something very different than fees, but the seller sets their price at $100, and then what the buyer is seeing is $120. So the buyer is seeing that fee with the added amount in there. Okay.
Yeah, I think they couldn't do it for Etsy now because we've got so many other fees coming off, but it would help because it means the people don't have to calculate what their profit is so much. They say, this is how much I want. And then they don't go, why did I lose 15%? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, if anyone knows anything about Etsy's balance sheet or anything, these are numbers I don't pretend to understand.
Reach Studio said no handmade seller can afford to provide 50 to 70% discounts. It's crazy. It depends on what you sell. It depends on what you make. It depends on how much profit you want to make. A lot of sellers, because they race to the bottom and because they're selling stuff that's very similar, you can only sell stickers at so much markup. You can only sell t-shirts at so much markup. They generally won't have that 50 to 70% discount that they can add in there. But if you're selling something unique, or you create a product that just nobody else is selling and that people really want, you can build in quite a bit of percent into that 50 to 70% discount is possible. With a lot of my products, 50% to 70% discount is possible with still making profit. But also, if you're just looking at the individual sale, you might lose quite a bit of money, or you might lose quite a bit of profit. But the goal is to turn that buyer into a buyer for life, so that they're constantly buying from you. And if it costs you a few extra dollars to do that, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I have about 20% of my sales are repeat buyers, and you can't go wrong with those numbers. It all depends on what you're selling and if that profit is built in. But if it's not, like with certain categories, you will not have that profit built in, and that's fine. You're just not going to be included in that 50 to 70%. Not everything is a one size fits all when it comes to Etsy. A lot of things are just, if this works for your shop, here's this thing that you can do. If it doesn't work for you, then don't do it. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, it depends, and don't do it if you can't. That my worry
100%.
is a lot of sellers who are new and not very confident follow everything Etsy tells them to do. And I worry that people that really can't do that will offer the discounts and then realize they're losing a lot of money.
Yeah, that's 100% going to happen too.
Yeah. If you sell supplies to crafters that are consumables, a repeat customer could be fantastic. If you sell wedding rings, there's very little repeat custom, I would imagine. I mean, I know the world's changed and everything, but I don't think you're getting married every 6 months and need a new wedding ring. So it's
Exactly.
a less... something I covered with Starla like a couple hours ago now. You're saying no handmade seller can afford this. Possibly in the economy that Etsy is in just now, where it has pushed a lot of people to race to the bottom, that isn't a thing. It should be, and it used to be, because when we were building up, as we were thinking of a full handmade business, you were supposed to factor that in, because you're supposed to factor in that if someone comes in and wants a wholesale order, and I've had shops take my stuff, and if they want a wholesale order, they want a 50% discount.
Yep.
So you should have, as a business, been able to do that, but it's not possible for many people anymore. So
well, just think of print on demand, where people are selling print on demand t-shirts for $30, $40 because they need to make some profit in there. But if you buy just the blank, it'll only cost you $2, which means it's costing Printify or Printful less than that because they're bulk ordering it. So they're able to discount 50 to 70% and making it so that you can't. So print on demand, there's certain markets where it just doesn't work. But then if you are factoring that in, not necessarily print on demand, but if you're factoring it in and you're making the t-shirts yourself and you're still selling them for $30, you actually have that 50 to 70% that you can discount. So it's all about how you build your business and how you price your items. And if you're trying to race to the bottom with everybody else, you definitely won't be able to. But if you're able to throw that in there, that's definitely good business practice. If you go to any store, if you go to Walmart, if you go to Foot Locker, then then their markup is usually 200 or 300%. That's why they can have sales all the time. And as small businesses, we need to start thinking that way as well, where you should be building in enough profit that you can offer discounts where discounts apply. If somebody wants 50 of an item, you should have that built in, just because that's just good business and it makes for better sales.
Yeah, and something we're talking about with Styler as well, but also we mentioned earlier where Etsy are saying now the market isn't there for the $10 rings, but it's there for $100 rings. So people, hopefully Etsy is going to be driving people to say these are the handmade things, and the value is they're expensive because they're made by craftsmen for you. So if we hang tough and say this is how much my items are worth, because it is better. I see some of you are saying that, your items are better than other items, so charge it.
Yep,
And
100%.
it's quite often seen that you think, oh, you've got to have the lowest price or whatever. But when people are buying a gift for someone and they have enough money to do it, and they see a list of items, they won't necessarily buy the most expensive one, but they're going to go above average because they're buying a gift and they want it to be nice. So
Well, generally, it's assumed that the cheapest thing on a list is the cheapest quality as well. So just being the bottom dollar is not necessarily a good thing.
Yeah, and if you get out of the mindset of the race to the bottom, if you use quality materials, people understand they're more expensive, and you can have a much bigger markup. My mum's a knitter, and you say you can't make the money from knitting. Well, you can't if you're buying cheap acrylic yarn and knitting what everybody else makes. But if you fly to New Zealand and buy from the spinner that created the wool that went into Gandalf's cloak from Lord of the Rings, which my mum did because my sister lives in New Zealand, if you buy that, you have pictures of the sheep it was sheared from, you have a reason why your item is worth this money.
You can get
Then
the
you're
premium price.
Exactly. You can definitely afford that. And if you're nervous about doing that, keep the cheaper items that you have as nice things for the people that are there, but also build in some more quality items to your shop as well.
Yep. And actually, I just want to counter what Linda said there. Linda said Etsy needs to remember, without sellers, they don't have a website. No sellers, then no buyers. It's actually the opposite way. Sellers are a dime a dozen. If there's a ton of buyers and no sellers, sellers will sell their firstborn child to get in front of all of those buyers. But if there's no buyers and there's tons of sellers, you now have a dead marketplace. You have to have the balance, but buyers are actually a lot more important than sellers.
Yeah, we're on Etsy. I'm currently still recommending Etsy, not because I love everything that they're doing, but because they're the best option because they have the most buyers.
Yep.
That's why
That's
they
the only
get
reason.
all. Yeah, I don't like 15 years ago. Etsy, amazing, great feel, lovely marketplace, made loads of friends. Etsy now, it's got the most buyers. There's other places that I'm in talks with, some other places. Starla's in talks. Like we're doing things, but I can't tell you to go and bet your house on selling everything from these other places because they don't have enough customers just now.
Yep. And if they had tons of sellers, they would still not have more buyers. And that's unfortunately just the way it is. That buyers are actually where the sellers want to get in front of. Sellers are literally a dime a dozen. If there's a demand for something, sellers will jump in there. If there's no demand, there's no buyers, then the platform dies.
Yeah. I mean, there has to be quality sellers.
Yeah.
But
there has to be demand for there to be a supply. Supply doesn't matter if there's no demand.
It is a balance, and it would be nice if Etsy a little more looked after its good sellers, or to be honest, no, I don't need coddled or anything. I'm not Linda. I'm not saying you're saying you need coddled. I don't need coddled. I need the people that shouldn't be here out of here, and then I'm fine. You know, I don't think I would be complaining about the fees or any other things if I was getting ka-chings every 2 minutes and run off my feet.
Sure.
And I have occasionally I've been in that spot, and you're not sitting looking in the forums and going, "Oh no, Etsy, you've made this change. I'm as mad as anything." You're like, "I'm dealing with my customers. Etsy, I don't care what you're up to."
Exactly.
Oh, this is the share repurchases. I meant to pull up, but I forgot, and I can't be bothered now. Looking at the share price, I think someone said it's dropped 9% since the reporting. It's normal. The sky's not falling. It'll come back up again. It'll come back up to its low place just now.
And low is actually better for what Etsy's planning, which is buying back most of the shares, because then they're not then they don't have to rely on what the shareholders say. They don't have to do things because it'll benefit the shareholders. They want it to benefit Etsy. They want it to benefit the sellers. They want it to benefit the buyers. They want to stop caring about those shareholders. That's why they're doing all of this buyback. That's why they're spending hundreds of millions of dollars a year, or 100,000, I don't know how much they're spending per year to get those stocks back, so that they don't have to worry about the shareholders anymore. It's almost like they wish they didn't have an IPO and make it public, and they're trying to kind of come back on that so that they can do what they want to do and not just worry about, well, this is the best thing for the shareholders.
That's true. It would be the best if Etsy owned all Etsy shares, for sure.
Yep.
Yep, I don't think the guidance. They did say they're expecting, Q3 will decline a little year on year. So we get that. They're expecting Q3 is not going to be great.
And they said that at the beginning of the year.
Exactly, and they were correct.
Yep.
They said it was going to be tough, and it was tough. Right, so the questions and answers, I didn't, as I say, I haven't written these out great, but like the first one is sort of something I've covered because my memory's all over the place. But they asked, when will we know if the changes in search engine have increased conversion? And that is where Josh said they are not optimizing the search engine for conversion anymore. They're optimizing it for bringing people back, which I hadn't. Yes, that's his words. Now they want search engine to be optimized for frequency. Very interesting.
Which is why the number of returning active buyers is up, and the number of return sellers or return buyers is up. So that's working. Whatever they're doing, it's working.
Exactly. Showing people a mix of stuff, not just what they asked for in search. And also they did say, they said later in this summer, we've got a month of summer left. They said later in the summer, they will be bringing out this helping sellers by showing the listing quality and completeness score. So this is not your listing quality score, because he's very clearly never saying listing quality score. I think we're going to have a checklist like what you're seeing on eRank going, oh, you've only got 2 pictures, you could add some more pictures, just like a little checklist, I think. But we'll wait and see. The second question, I can't remember what. Oh yeah, they were talking about has all the sports and elections caused issues, and they kind of said that, well, yes, it does. That's another what they call headwind. That's another thing that slows down sales. I mean, the elections are an issue, but also that this has been a year of sports. If you wanted to watch anything else on the telly, it's not good. And that makes a difference. And yes, in these words, expect Q4 to be okay. So didn't even mention like Q3. That's already written off. Forget about that.
It's the insecurity when it comes to elections. It's the financial insecurity that could happen depending on who gets voted into power, and so people tend to spend less when that's coming because they don't know what's going to happen with inflation, with everything else.
Yeah. I hate UK politics, but I do love that we're going to have an election. We're having an election. We're done. There's no 2 years worth of rallies and all sorts of things. Yeah, it's just this kind of go, right, we're having an election, get on with it, right, it's done. But that's because, yeah, America, your election cycle is insane.
You're nutty.
Exactly. Yes.
Being Canada, we have to deal with everything you guys do, and you guys are nutty. Stop it. Stop.
Yep. Question was the loyalty program, who's the primary customer? And they said the target customer will be someone who shops 3 to 4 times a year, and they want to increase the times they shop. And the price will be the cost of a latte. And they will not be targeting regular shoppers yet. So
They, of
I don't
course,
know how
did
much.
not mention if that's like a Tim Hortons latte or if that's a Starbucks latte. They didn't specify, but or if that's a latte a month or a latte a year. They also didn't say that.
Yeah, a latte a month, but they didn't say if it was a nice latte. Yeah, no nutty. Of course you're not, Susan. I would never say anything like that.
Sure.
A question. The fourth question was, what's the most exciting initiative for Eatsy? And Josh said, being asked what's the most exciting initiative, he said, I'm excited for 2025. Let's
And
get
that
this
could be
moving.
because he has something planned. He has like a list of stuff that we're going to do this in 2025, or it could just be this year's going to be so bad. There's no way we could do worse than this. We don't know which one it is.
Yep. But he did say that the focus that they're working towards, which I sort of mentioned earlier, currently Eatsy is the place where you go when you can't find it anywhere else. They want people to come to Eatsy first. That absolutely makes sense. I gave up writing down what the questions are, but Eatsy are working on efforts to emphasize the value of your item. Who's the human behind it? What did they do to create that item? So we've already seen that in the how handmade it is. And tools to help giving better pricing for the value that you deserve. They do. It's the mixed messages here. They're talking about better pricing. Oh, that was the question. It's like one of the investors asked, what are you doing to encourage sellers to increase their prices? Because obviously you get more revenue if we sell for higher things. But I don't know how he answers those with a straight face after the number of sales and talking about 75% discounts. But yeah, I get they're trying to say jewelry under a tenner is not great. They're wanting to show better value things on Etsy. Fantastic. And use now he mentioned jewelry, and I mentioned this in Etsy News. I'd spotted on jewelry searches they're showing what the materials are and stuff. You've got little things showing the variations of gold, silver, bronze, and lots of things. So they're saying materials and jewelry are very important. So starting with jewelry, they're using the large language models to understand what your item is to be able to show it on that search page. So if jewelry sellers, make sure your listings are filled in properly with the materials explained properly, because they're pushing for that, and for quality stuff.
And that's the attributes. You should always be filling in your attributes. You should be filling any field that is given to you. fill it in. Whether that's your shop, your listing, anywhere, you should have everything filled out just because it's there for a reason.
Absolutely. Yeah. And they are seen in some of the searches, it says underneath materials available if you filled in your materials. Fill in that material section. And it's not, I can't remember where I spoke about this last, it's not a keyword stuffing place. It's a place to put what your item's made of. I mean, I do put it's made with love in my materials. I have done for 15 years. Let's see what Etsy does with that. But yeah, that was, I feel it's on message with last quarter's report, basically saying we've hit rock bottom. I hope. So there's some good initiatives. I think authenticity, showing we make our items and it's worth what we're making, and we're not drop shipping it from China.
Generally,
And
it's positive. Like the general overview of all this is, for sellers, things are not looking too bad.
Yeah, he's definitely talking the talk. The things that we want to hear is what they're focusing on. So that's good, especially for an investor review, because investors don't want to hear the things necessarily that are good for us. So yeah, we'll see. But I hope, I mean, the little looking at the graphs, it's up. Everything's up. Teeny tiny bit on the metrics that are important to us. We want less shops with better quality and hopefully higher priced items. I'd like people that come to Etsy to be people expecting to pay a bit of money. Because
I mean, there are the people that are buying the handcrafted armoires for $8,000. Like there are those buyers, but it'd be nice if people weren't coming and expecting the rock bottom prices.
Exactly.
A lot of the people that have come to Etsy over the past couple of years, when we saw that giant jump of over 40 million people, they were coming when all of that junk was coming too. So they kind of started seeing Etsy as the place to find the junk. If you want the AliExpress stuff, you can come to Etsy. And so clearing that out, and that slowly raises the average price of an item. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It means that everyone can start raising their prices because the competition with that junk is no longer there.
Yeah, it's a good point that probably a lot of the buyers that came in at that place are not buyers we want. They're kind of junk buyers. They were here for that important time. Go back to Amazon.
And that's why it's not necessarily bad that the amount of buyers has plateaued and the amount of sellers has dropped significantly. That's not necessarily a bad thing, because the buyers that were here before, they know what Etsy is, and we want the current buyers to also understand what Etsy is. And by clearing out all that junk, we might start seeing a huge dip in buyers after all that junk is cleared out. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, because those weren't buyers of handmade items. Those are buyers of stuff that they get everywhere else anyways. So that doesn't benefit sellers like us who are actually hand making their items.
Yeah, and if they're only buyers coming in and buying when they get an email saying 75% off, they're not even adding much value.
We don't need them either.
Yeah, that's it. And I think there's been enough in the world showing us that this kind of a loss leader isn't necessarily a good thing. So some loss leaders work. You sell your bread super cheap so people come in and buy all the other things in your supermarket. That works. But I'll have to remember which car company it was, but there's one that did manage to put itself completely out of business by having sales, because people knew there's another sale coming up and would only buy cars when they were on sales. Because you don't need to, if you have a high ticket item, you don't need to keep on buying it. Like if milk price fluctuates, I've just got to buy milk whenever. But if I'm going to buy something and I know it's probably going to be on sale next month, I'll just wait till next month to get it.
And those are the two issues: is if you're always running a sale, or if you're running consistent sales, then people will wait till something is on sale. but also if you have like a loss leader, someone asks, I can't see it now, but someone asked about loss leaders. Is it worth it to have a loss leader in your shop? The problem with that is that a lot of buyers don't think, oh, I bought it from XYZ shop. It's a marketplace, so they're saying I bought it from Etsy. And so they're an Etsy shop or not, so they're not necessarily coming back to your shop. So having a loss leader might not benefit you unless you can really pull them in and make them repeat buyers over and over again. Otherwise, it ends up just being a loss, not a loss leader.
Exactly. Oh, I'm nearly forgetting, but one thing, Sophie, one of our French people, said to me. I haven't had a chance to look this up, but it's important for all of us. If you're having sales, make sure you're following the rules of your country, because she was concerned at the 75% off, because apparently in France, and I will have to check it, it's only legal twice in the year to have a sale that you're in loss. So that really watch out for that. And I believe the regulations in the UK and most of the world are still, to have a sale, the item has to have been at full price for an appreciable amount of time before you put it on sale. So if you're going to have 30 days drop in the price of something, it has to have been at full price 30 days before at least.
Yeah, most countries have consumer protection laws that say basically that exact same thing. And so shops that are constantly renewing their sales, so you have your item on sale 12 months of the year, that you might actually break in the law. Well, the Consumer Protection Act might not, like, they might not come after you, they also might. So it's always a risk.
And I've spoke to Etsy customer support, so bear in mind what the answers are not always 100%, but basically asked about sales, and they said sales are the individual seller's responsibility, and you have to make sure you're following the laws.
Yeah.
So
but that's also why Etsy only allows you to run sales for 30 days at a time, and then you have to renew it for that exact reason.
Yep. Yes. So they are trying to look at it. I can see a lot of these things. Something will happen where somebody's cracked down on, and if Etsy get into trouble, they will change. They will make it harder. They'll make it clearer. So we'll see. But
yeah, the only problem is that every country has different rules and different laws, and so just dealing with every seller who, they might be in one country, but if they do print on demand, so if I'm in Canada and I do print on demand that ships from the UK, which consumer protection law comes into play? And Etsy is in the US, so is that the one? So which one trumps which? Is it the seller, the reseller, the drop shipper, the Etsy in general? Like, who's at fault? And so that's why they just kind of say it's on you to learn what you need to do for this type of thing, because we don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So I would say for us, if you're wanting to have sales as a strategy, err on the side of caution, go for the most stringent laws that you can find and make sure you're following them, and then you'll probably clear for everything else.
Yeah. And again, like Pam was saying, if, like, when it comes to running sales, don't be too consistent with your sales. Don't always be running a sale, because then people will only buy from you while you're running a sale. You want people to buy from you at regular price so that you have the extra profit sitting there to be able to run a sale. So if people are just expecting a sale, that's not necessarily the best way to maximize the amount of income you're making.
Yeah, be unpredictable. I have personally only had 2 sales. Etsy's forced some upon me, but I've had 2 sales, and they were 24-hour sales. I messaged my followers. I said, my car needs a new tire. You've got 24 hours, go. Basically.
We usually do the exact same thing where it's like, oh, we almost forgot, it's Friday the 13th, so tomorrow we're having a sale. Tomorrow's International Goth Day, so it's a sale. Like, we'll forget, and sometimes we'll remember just like a couple hours before, and it's like, okay, we're running a sale apparently.
Exactly. And that means people have to follow you. They have to keep on their toes
Yep.
and never assume. So, yes, Gillian has got it exactly. Keep them guessing.
Damn right.
Absolutely. And Tracy, there is absolutely nothing wrong as well. As I say, I've had two 24-hour sales since 2008. Never running a sale is also a strategy because there are some really high-end brands, that have never had a sale. So you don't wait for the sale.
We say every year, okay, this is what we're gonna do for Black Friday. We're gonna run a Black Friday sale. We're gonna blah, 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 blah. And then as we get closer, we're like, okay, why run a sale? Everybody's shopping. Why start discounting our stuff at that point in time? There's no point because everybody's shopping, and so we
Yeah.
never run sales.
I hate Black Friday and this expectation because, like, we're the same in the UK. We never used to have Black Friday. Those kind of sales happened on Boxing Day, the day after
Canada
Christmas.
too.
Yeah, and that makes more sense. And okay, when times are tough, yeah, it's horrible. But there's a number of years I have shut my shop down before Black Friday. I don't want any more Christmas. I'm like, no, stop them taking orders because I don't want to deal with the people that buy that close to Christmas and then expect it made and shipped to them. So,
For something handmade, I mean, what you do is not just an instant knock it out and it's good to go. It takes time and it still needs to ship and it still needs all of the other process. And if you have 100 people buying in a single day, that's like, you'll be working till next Christmas just to get them out.
yeah. And that's it. So if people are sitting waiting for the Black Friday sale, they're on to nothing. If Etsy goes like what it used to be, we should all be too busy to be thinking of a Black Friday sale.
Ideally.
Mm-hmm. I'm not a shop that's anywhere near the size of you, but on the run up to the pandemic, that was what my shop was like. Since the pandemic, not so much, but that's what things used to be like.
Yep. Well, it's usually mid-October to mid-November is when the huge bulk of sales come in. And then a couple weeks later is Black Friday, and then there's more sale. But we're already completely swamped, and that's when we decide, yeah, we're not running a sale. We can't. We how are we going to do that? How are we going to get everything out? That's not possible.
Exactly. That's the best way to be, and that's what it should be.
Knowing your limits, that's definitely an important thing for any business, is know your limits, know how much you can output at your max. If you're working 20 hours a day, how much can you reasonably put out there, and don't push yourself beyond that, because you're only hurting yourself at that point for a little bit more money that you might need to refund because you can't even get it done anyways, and the quality might slip, and you don't want to do that, and there's lots of reasons.
Yeah. I've only managed to do it a couple of years and then things got quiet for me. But what I used to do in the run up to Christmas, October and November, I would say, I'm going to have these many slots. And then I'd put in my announcement, I have so many more slots for this month. Buy just now to avoid disappointment. And then when I'd made that many sales, it was like, sorry, I'm not accepting any more till November. And then, sorry, that's it. And all these kind of things.
Which is basically what Etsy's doing with their buyer insider thing, where buy it now because once it goes live to the entire public, it might not be available to you. So first comers get it now.
Exactly. That's the kind of real scarcity is a really cool strategy. Not when you click on a website and it says you've got 10 minutes to click on this to get the discount. It's like, really?
And in 5 minutes you refresh and you still have 10 minutes.
Yep. Yes, that's scammy. but yes, if it's real scarcity, it's a cool thing.
Exactly.
Anyway, well, I was going to say I think I've taken up too much of your time, but this is actually on your channel as well, so it's
Great.
So you get it as well. So that's
So
cool.
I've taken up enough of my time, is what you're saying.
Yes. I have been on this computer for many hours today. But guys, well, firstly, Brian, thank you so much for joining me. That makes these so much more fun.
Hopefully it makes it fun for all of you as well. I should point at the camera for all of you. I pointed to the chat and I'm like, oh, you can't see where. Hopefully it's great for all of you as well.
Yeah, everyone, thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed it. If I missed your questions, absolutely sorry, I'm rubbish. But if you ask them again and I'll get back to you. And
you could ask them in the Crafty Clan group, you could ask them in the E-Rank group, you could ask them in my group, the Making Etsy Make Sense group. You can ask your questions anywhere, and you have all of us that are answering from everywhere.
Exactly. Right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, and don't run away from the music.
And if you have some dreams to craft and share, Coach Pam's got wisdom, don't despair. Turn your passions into things that bling. With each video